Hello, and welcome back to my series on Dredge, and how their fishes stack up to the real-life counterparts, and how accurate they are. Obviously, disclaimers, the game is stylized, obviously they won't look one-to-one. And my general rule of thumb on if it's done well or not is could a person who knows what this fish looks like in real life reasonably guess what it is without being told its name. Now, today's episode is about the Gale Cliffs, which is a very annoying area, but, well, that's not what this is about. I have a good feeling about the Gale Cliffs. From what I remember, they're pretty accurate, but I could be wrong. So, let's get into the first fish of the Gale Cliffs and see if I'm right. We're starting off strong with the oceanic perch. It's actually pretty good considering how tiny its model is. Reminder, the oceanic perch is a single tile fish, meaning it is very, very hard to see, so its model has less detail compared to the other ones. The biggest problem with the oceanic perch's design in this game is that it's just a bit too rounded. It needs to be a bit straightened out. If you were to compress it a bit, it would look a lot better, or at least more accurate. And its fins should be, its dorsal fin should be a lot more spiky at the front. I think it is trying to be spiky, but given how small its model is in the game, they probably didn't have as much, they didn't put as much effort into making it visually distinct compared to the back. But as you can see, it is a bit spiky, but not really the way it's meant to look. But I think it's trying to get the point across with how small it is. But I think it's actually pretty good. Its coloration's pretty accurate, maybe a little too orangey, but, there's a lot of variation when it comes to this fish's color. So, honestly, I think this is a very good design of an oceanic perch. On to fun facts, starting with this little guy's name, because he actually goes by several different ones. His actual official name is the Pacific oceanic perch, specifically. Then it's also called the Pacific rockfish. It's also referred to as the red mullet, and I think there's another one. In this game they actually recognize the fact that it's also referred to as the rosefish. So the little guy goes by a couple different names, but they actually kinda gave us the right name. Also, another fun fact is they reach sexual maturity about 10 years old as they grow pretty slowly, and apparently they can live for like 93 years. Excuse me, what the fuck? Rating the oceanic perch, I'm gonna give it a 9. It's basically perfect. Its proportions are a little weird, and its color maybe needs some adjusting, but I think it's actually really good. Okay, this is the second mackerel we're covering, and once again, it's just the wrong color. First off, I couldn't find a mackerel called tiger mackerel, so unless they based it off a mackerel, they got its name changed, I don't think tiger mackerel is a thing that's real. The closest I found was the broad-barred king mackerel, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, which looks very similar to this, at least a drawing I saw looks very similar to this. I'll put it up on screen. I couldn't find that many, actual photographs of this fish to see if it's, super accurate, but, it's kind of there. But assuming that is the right kind, it's actually not too inaccurate. Again, the colors are wrong, but that is actually kind of it. The fin shape is basically perfect for this art style, and the only thing that's really missing is the coloration, and it's also missing the anal spikes, or spines, whatever they're called. The little triangles near the tail. But other than that, it's actually pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 6, because I'm pretty sure tiger mackerel is just not even a thing that's real. The black sea bass is genuinely outstanding. Its design is basically one-to-one with its real-life counterpart. There are some variations of black sea bass that are different colors, have different patterns, stuff like that, but for the most part, this is what they look like, from the patterning on the fins, from the fin shape, to the head shape. This is what a black sea bass would look like in Dredge's art style. It's perfect, literally, it couldn't get better. It even has the little spike on the tail. I don't know if it's an actual spike, though. I couldn't find anything on it. I think it's just cute. There is one small, tiny problem with Dredge's interpretation of a black sea bass. For some reason, they made it nocturnal. I don't know why they did this. I could not find any source of information that says black sea bass are nocturnal, or even become more active at night. But it's literally perfect. This is an easy 10, without any shadow of a doubt. When I first saw Dredge's stonefish, I was like, that's too compressed to be correct, but it turns out I was actually wrong. There is actually a type of stonefish that is this correct size. I believe it's pronounced the estrine stonefish. It's Latin, I'm pretty sure, because of course it is. Again, this is another example of Dredge not telling us a specific species. It just says stonefish. But now that I know that there are only 5 types of stonefish, it was pretty obvious which one it was, considering only one of them is this kind of compressed, squished size. And you know what? It's pretty spot on. That is basically what it looks like. I was actually really surprised by this. Some fun facts about the stonefish is that it's actually the most venomous fish on the planet. Its dorsal fin spines are actually capable of injecting neurotoxin, usually applied when you step on them, because they sit on the floor of the ocean. Yeah. So also apparently they're fatal. They can be fatal to humans. However, I was unable to find any like actual documentation of someone dying to one. I'm sure it's happened, but I actually couldn't find any like numbers of global deaths, because there is an anti-venom for them. So because they live in Australia, so that's probably why there's not that many documentations of it, because those fuckers are just crazy. The stonefish's design in this game was genuinely surprising to me. I didn't realize that there was a stonefish that looked this compressed looking, but you know what? It works. They found one that works in a 2x2 tile size, and you know what? It looks really good. It's worth noting that it's kind of hard to have a set design for a stonefish, because they just look so different from each other, because of obviously the camouflage. But you know what? This is a pretty good design. I'm gonna give it a 10 actually. The only problem I really have with it is that they don't tell us a specific species. That's literally it. But otherwise, it's perfect. The blackmouth salmon is another amazing adaptation of its real life counterpart. It's perfect. Its coloration is pretty good, considering its art style. It's got the speckles. It has the it's got the fin shapes are all right. This is literally a blackmouth salmon. Just like it's a bit more bluish, I guess, but I think it's fine. And its eyes are yellow. I don't think the real one is yellow. I could be wrong though. But this is just textbook blackmouth salmon. I'm pretty sure someone who knows what a blackmouth salmon looks like could easily guess this as one. Before we move on to fun facts, I want to point something out. Salmon must, as far as I'm aware, all of them do, must go into fresh water to lay their eggs and reproduce. In fact, the blackmouth salmon's entry in this game makes reference to this. You've promises to keep blackmouth and miles to swim before you sleep. Now, in Dredge, there is only one place with fresh water in it, and that's the Twisted Strand. Now, in real life, when blackmouth salmon, also known as Chinook salmon, by the way, go to go lay their eggs, they head northwest. Yeah, northwest. Do you want to know what else is northwest? Just by coincidence, the Twisted Strand. It just so happens to be in the exact angle. I actually don't know if it's the exact angle, but it happens to be in the exact cardinal direction that the blackmouth salmon travels during its breeding season, where it lays its eggs. Now, this could be a coincidence, but I like to think that it was very much intentional. Now, on to fun facts. The reason why the blackmouth salmon is called the blackmouth salmon is because its gums are black. Now, you may wonder, why are their gums black? I don't know. Apparently, it's just like a species identifier thing. And that's it. I think I'm going to give the blackmouth salmon a 10. I think it's completely perfect in terms of its design, and the little ecology like notion of the Gale cliffs being at the perfect angle of being just lined up where the real life version of this animal does its reproductive cycle of reproducing in fresh water. Assuming that's intentional, of course. It's possible I'm just totally seeing too much into that. But I think its design is perfect. It looks basically exactly like the animal. So I'm gonna give it a 10. The conger eel. Whenever I was doing research on the gray eel, this guy came up so much. Whenever I was trying to figure out what it actually was, and I almost actually thought it was supposed to be the conger eel until I remembered that it's already in the game, so it can't be. But yeah, the conger eel is actually a genus, I'm pretty sure, of a lot of eels called conger. But my best guess is it's a European conger eel, also called the conger, which is very funny. And the reason why I think this is because not only is its length basically identical, its behavior is very similar. Another reason why I think that this is the European conger eel was the one that the Dredge team chose to be the conger eel in their game, is that it is a world record holder. It is the largest eel ever, apparently. So I'm thinking that that's the logic they went with, like, okay, it's the biggest, so we'll put it in the game. Also, I want to point out, like most eels, the conger eel is really cute. I just wanted to point that out, because that's like an objective fact that no one can really argue with. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I think it's pretty clear that the conger eel is very well done. It's basically a one-to-one with a detailed drawing of the animal. It is kind of hard to get pictures of a conger eel, or any eel for that matter, because obviously most of the eels on the ground. But from what I do have, this is very accurate. I'm gonna give this a 10, just straight up. It's perfect, basically. The design, the behavior, everything. It is perfect. This is a conger eel. The devil ray is another example of this being a creature that's just a massive group of them. Devil rays are essentially, manta rays. It's basically that entire family of creatures. There's like 20, I think. This sort of resembles some of them, mainly with the pattern on the head, but the lighter C shape on the midsection, I didn't find anything that looks like that. This could be anything in the family of, Mobula. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it could be any one of those. But there are some problems. There are some that are around 5 feet, which is what this one is. But most of them aren't. The tail is just really short for basically any of them. From what I can tell, they all have very, very long tails, and they don't look this short and stubby looking. I think it has the dorsal fin, or whatever it's called, on the lower tail. It's a bit hard to tell because obviously the top-down perspective, but it's kind of hard to tell. But I actually think this is really, the only thing that's kind of accurate is the general shape and the pattern on the head, which several do have that C black pattern with 2 white dots. A lot of them have that. That's the only thing that's really standing out. I think obviously someone could tell that this is a devil ray to the head shape, but I don't think anyone would be able to tell you the species. So I'm going to give this a 4. The sturgeon is another example, yet again, of a fish that's just given a general name. This time, it's of several different genuses, or families. More than they do, I get them confused. There's 27 different fish this could be, but this one was actually kind of easy to track down, because they used a very recognizable sturgeon for this. They used the green sturgeon. It's pretty obvious. It's green, it's got red fins, it's the same size. It's actually not that off of it. In fact, the only thing that's really kind of weird about it is its head. It looks a little goofy. It's kind of funnel shaped. I don't know why it looks like that. I think maybe it's just a weird angle, but it does look a little weird. Some fun facts about sturgeons include the fact that they're covered in bony scute armor, and the fact that they go back to, I believe, the late Cretaceous period. They're a pretty old group of fishes. Not so fun fact, though, is that they are endangered, like basically all sturgeons. Specifically, the green sturgeon is, I believe, endangered as the category specifically. They're all vulnerable, at least. Although I do believe that the population is slowly coming back, which is good. I'm going to say that Dredge's sturgeon design is pretty good. It follows what you would expect a sturgeon to look like, and due to its coloration, it's pretty easy to tell that it's a green sturgeon. So I'm going to give it a... I'm going to give it a 10. I genuinely don't see anything wrong with it. Again, another fish that is just a vague name, but this time it's a lot easier. Wreckfish applies to only 2 fishes that are in the genus Polyprion. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think it's genus. Pretty sure it is. And I think it's pretty obvious it's an Atlantic one. This is an Atlantic wreckfish. It's pretty clear from the spines and stuff. Yeah, this is actually kind of spot on. It's a little exaggerated, obviously. It's a bit too tall. It's obviously a little not normal fish shape, but it's actually pretty good. The fin structure is pretty accurate, including the sharper one lower. The front dorsal fin is weirdly exaggerated, and I'm a little confused why, because they've done spiky dorsal fins normally before. It does look a little weird, and it should probably be more connected to the back dorsal fin, but I think it's fine. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. Honestly, there's not that much to say. We don't actually know too much about these guys. We know that they like rocky areas. In fact, that's where they get their name from, wreckfish. It comes from the fact that they often inhabit, sunken ships. We know they can also live pretty deep, around 600 feet. So I don't know why it's a shallow fish in this game, but that's besides the point. And they get fucking massive. They get around 6 feet and 200 pounds. So that's definitely very accurate too. Overall, I think the wreckfish from Dredge is actually pretty accurate. Aside from a couple of proportion things, maybe some color changes here and there, making it a little lighter, and the fact that it's kind of a shallow fish, I don't understand why it's that. I think this is actually pretty accurate, and it's pretty good. I'm gonna give it a A. I think it's pretty good. Nautilus is another example, of course, of a just generalized name of multiple different creatures. And I'm gonna be real, Nautiluses all kind of look the same. Take your pick on which one it is. They look so similar to each other, there's no point even trying to figure it out. Like, it's minor differences in, like, shell patterning. I'm sure one of them matches up pretty well, and maybe one of the extinct ones, maybe one of the alive ones, but I don't know. At the end of the day, that's a Nautilus. We can all agree that it's a Nautilus. It's very obviously one. I think someone could easily guess it is. Guessing the specific species, good luck with that. But knowing that it's a Nautilus, that's pretty easy. Some fun facts about Nautilus include the fact that they've been around since the Triassic, which is crazy to think that they're still kicking around. And the fact that they can have like 50 tentacles, which I didn't even know about until making this video. So that's cool. They don't have like a small number, like 8 or 10 or something. They have like 50 or 90 and stuff. As for its ranking, I mean, it's a 10, right? I mean, that's obviously a Nautilus. I mean, I don't think anyone could just not know that's a Nautilus if they know what a Nautilus is. But guessing the specific species would be basically impossible. Again, literally the only real problem with this is that it doesn't tell us what species it is. I mean, it is kind of green looking, but I'm assuming that's meant to not be, like, the actual creature. I'm assuming that's meant to be like, oh, you're looking at it through the water. So, again, I'm giving it a 10. It's basically perfect. Okay, small problem. As far as I'm aware, the Abyssal Gar isn't real. It's a cryptid. Supposedly in like 1983 or something, like a long time ago, some guy supposedly saw a like rainbow abyss, like a rainbow gar when going down in a bathysphere. And there's like no actual proof that it exists. Even then, its description is very colorful and small, which this one is not. It's just a dark gar that's like 6 feet long. This is essentially a completely original creature. I'm not gonna rank it. It looks very cute. I'll give it that. It looks very cute. It's not real as far as I'm aware. This may be the first, and as far as I'm aware, only just straight up cryptid in this game. That's like the one that you can catch. That's not just like an enemy. So it's cute, but I don't think it's real. The lancet fish is another fish that I didn't realize existed until I played Dredge, and I gotta say, it looks pretty accurate. The colors are a bit off, mainly with its dorsal fin, and I think the side is a little weird, and the head does also look a little. No, never mind. I'm just missing that. I thought that was like its skull or something. No, but it's pretty accurate. That is what the lancet fish looks like. It does look really good in the game. And, you know, this is a pretty cool predator. Apparently they're, cannibals, which is always fun. I love cannibalism. They're also apparently very efficient predators as well. So, that's cool. Again, this is like a beautiful fish. It's really well done. It's very accurate, too, with the exception of colors. I'm gonna give this a 9. It is literally just its back dorsal fin being a very wrong shade of blue. The rock crab is just straight up the wrong color. It feels like they listened to the name rock crab and took it way too literally. It has this nice gray color to it mixed with this rusty red. In real life, it doesn't look like that. It's just like a brick red, brown, dark red. It is somewhat gray when it's a juvenile, so maybe that's what's going on here. That is possible. It actually could just straight up be that the ones we catch in game are juveniles, but I don't think that's the case because it's not really what happens with any other one. I think it was just straight up, they took the name too literally, and you know what, it's just the wrong color. I'm gonna give this a 7. It's straight up just the wrong color, dude. Like, come on. Once again, there's another creature in this game that is just a overgeneralized name that applies to an entire superfamily this time. Yay! Thankfully, this one... here's the thing. This model that we see doesn't really pair up to one with any Decacorder crab as far as I'm aware. Due to this wide variety of stuff on it, as they tend to specialize in one thing or another. But I think it's supposed to be I think it's the graceful decorator crab. I think that's right. I couldn't find one that was red. Finding images of these guys without anything on them is really difficult. So I only could find a drawing, and I can only find one. So I'm guessing it's this, because its body shape is like literally this. So I think that's right. Decorator crabs used hooked setae on their shells to attach their random junk onto them. Sponges, kelp, basically anything they can find, they can just staple on as a disguise. I haven't heard of coral, though, which this one seems to do. And some of those seem like just normal rocks. Barnacles will just grow on crabs regardless, so that's just there. But I don't know about coral. But I mean, I guess it theoretically could work, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it. I think this design is relatively okay. The fact that it doesn't match up to one with any of them is very disappointing. But I think someone could guess this is a decorator crab. In fact, I guarantee they would, but they wouldn't be able to guess the species. Absolutely not. I think it has a very nice design. It's very pleasant to look at. It's very cool, but it's not very accurate, and as such, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's cool. Someone could guess it as a decorator crab, but there's no way in hell anyone's gonna guess the species. It doesn't look like any of them, really, as far as I'm aware. The oarfish will be the first exotic creature we'll be discussing in this series. All that really means is that there's only one per se file. That it doesn't really mean anything other than they're special. The oarfish in this game looks a little weird to me. It doesn't look inaccurate by any means. It's pretty spot on, other than it should be more silver. The head fin looks a little weird, and I guess the dorsal fin should be a little bit more consistently, lined up. But then again, it is stylized. There's just something weirdly blocky about it. I don't know. There's something. It just looks a little weird. Like the mouth looks fine. Everything else just kind of looks off. It's very accurate. No one in their right mind would guess anything other than an oarfish when looking at it. But it just looks weird to me, and I don't really know how to put my finger on it. Wrapping it up, the oarfish is really accurate. As much as I don't really like the way it looks, it's very accurate to the way it should look. The only real problems with it is that its dorsal fin is not really consistent throughout its body when it should be. Then again, that is the stylization of the game, and it should be a lot more silver than it has here. And its head fin does look a little weird, but I think it's relatively fine. I'm gonna give it a 9. It's like on the verge of being perfect, but it's basically perfect. It's right there. I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised by the Gale glyphs. It is my least favorite area of the game, so I did come in biased against it, but most of the creatures here were very accurate to their real-life counterparts, with only like 3 exceptions. In fact, how far they went to make some of these guys accurate was really shocking to me, especially with the blackmouth salmon. I may be reading too much into it, but I really hope I'm not, and that was very much intentional, because that'd be so cool if it was. But there were a lot of just really cool things here. I even learned some new things about the Nautilus and stuff. And the Abyssal Gar really surprised me. I was not expecting there to be just straight up a cryptid here. But, I mean, I guess so. Again, I could just be wrong about that, to be fair. I could be wrong about a lot of these things. I'm not really confident about the rock crab thing. But, we'll see how it goes. But, this was really, really informative for me. Next time, though, we'll be doing the Stellar Basin, my favorite area of the game. It has some of the most beautiful creatures in the game, and the most unique ones. So, I'm really hoping a lot of them are accurate, because they do look really cool, and I do like them. But, we'll see when we see. And I'll see you then.